Hey guys, welcome back to an interesting video on Wild Rift. So today, after a long time of not playing Xayah, we're going to take a look at a Xayah updated complete guide for the latest patch. Now, you're going to see some interesting stuff here, but before we get into that, don't forget to check out Xayah's basic guide for her skills, leveling order, tips and tricks, as well as some combos that I will, of course, link up in the cards above. But without further ado, let's now just jump straight into her build. So, the first thing we're going to address the elephant in the room is the lack of an IE. Now, for the longest time, for months, for like the last however many patches it was, I've always said that I think IE is an important item because it gives you a lot of AD, it gives you the extra 30% crit damage, so I've always felt that this was a very important item to have in some champions builds. And the only reason why my opinion on this has changed is because of testing out First Strike Lucian. Like, if you guys remember my First Strike Lucian video, which is the last video I did before this one, I believe, in that video basically I tested out builds with Lucian and with, of course, First Strike, and with IE, without IE, and then just because of how close the damage was in terms of certain items, I basically decided to test out a lot of other champions in the practice tool with a lot of different builds. So for example, some champions like Xayah, for example, if you actually trade out your IE for a Magnetic Blaster, despite the fact that you're not getting this 55 AD and bonus crit damage, and instead you're getting this attack speed instead, the extra attack speed that you don't get from IE, and plus the extra damage when you proc the Magnetic Blaster, actually allows you to do almost the same amount of damage, at least in the first couple of seconds, because you get the extra burst from the Magnetic Blaster, and your DPS is actually very similar. So that really surprised me. And furthermore, Magnetic Blaster is 2900 gold, whereas IE is 3400 gold. So you're actually saving 500 gold, which is like nearly 2 full kills worth of gold in terms of your spending. So essentially what I basically realize is that, honestly, I think for some champions it's not even worth it to go IE anymore, and Xayah is one of them. Now, I will say I tried some other champions, for example, Tristana, and I think like on Tristana you actually lose out way too much damage if you trade your IE for a Magnetic Blaster. So for certain champions like Tristana, I still think IE is an essential item, but for the other champions I really don't think it's that important anymore. So of course, I'm going to be updating, the guides for the champions that I think don't need IE anymore in, the days and weeks to come, so you guys can look forward to that. But let's actually now talk about the build. Not too much to talk about, because honestly, the lack of IE is the bulk of the discussion. We go for a standard Gluttonous Greed's first item for the AD and the Omnivamp. We go into Bloodthirster as a first item. Of course, gives you the huge amount of AD, physical vamp, as well as bonus stats when you're high on health. Now, you can go for a shield bow here if you want an extra level of safety, but personally I think with ultimate and such, Xayah is really safe enough, and I think the Bloodthirster giving you a lot of extra damage and vamp compared to your shield bow is a lot more useful. Then you go into your Quick Blades. Now your Quick Blades is going to lower the cooldown for all your basic abilities, most importantly your W and your E. So of course, in this build, we go for Conqueror, so we don't actually have Lethal Tempo, so getting the attack speed from the W very important, so we need a lower cooldown. And furthermore, one of your main sources of damage, or rather your most main source of damage on Xayah, is your E when you pull back your feathers, so getting that off cooldown more quickly is going to increase your damage by a lot. So of course, having Quick Blades for that is really useful. So now, as I mentioned, we go for Magnetic Blaster. You get the bonus range and you get the attack speed, which is going to compensate for you lacking attack damage, because once again you can attack slower but harder, or you can attack faster but less hard. So eventually it turns out to relatively equal amounts of damage, and in Xayah's case, attacking faster and less hard is actually even better, because you get more feathers out more quickly, which is then going to lead to even more damage. So it's a win-win situation in this case. And then we finish it up with the Moral Reminder, of course, from the Armor Pen, as well as the Grievous Wounds. For the last item, it's pretty standard. You go for either your GA, your defensive options, basically your GA. You can go for your Maw, you can go for your Sterix Gauge, or you could of course go for even more damage with something like an IE as a last item, things like that. It's kind of up to you what you want to go for. And for the runes, the best rune Xayah can actually go is Conqueror, because she doesn't actually, I won't say she doesn't need the attack speed. The attack speed is nice, but you have attack speed from your Legend Alacrity, you have attack speed from your W with Quick Blades, you have attack speed from your Magnetic Blaster, so you actually have enough attack speed to get by. So Conqueror gives you a lot more value because it gives you a lot of extra AD, which of course you're lacking because you don't have IE, and it also gives you a bit of extra healing, which is always going to be helpful. Of course, Brutal because we're an ADC that auto attacks a lot. Giant Slayer because it's the rune that gives you the most damage in this slot. Again, Legend Alacrity, of course, for the attack speed. And, of course, Bone Plating for the, defensive capabilities, both in lane as well as in the later stages of the game. And finally, we go for Flash, of course, and then we go for Ghost. I like Ghost most of the time because I think kiting around with Xayah is very, very important, especially because people are constantly trying to get on top of you. And Exhaust can and will work if there are a lot of assassins that you need it for, but in general, I think Ghost is better. So with all that out the way, let's move on to talking about the gameplay. Alrighty, so moving on to the gameplay, of course don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Any questions, queries, or remarks, feel free to leave them in the comments below and I will of course be sure to address them. So, straight into the gameplay now. First things first, Xayah generally doesn't care too much about whether you have an enchanter or an engager support. She's really kind of an independent kind of ADC with enchanters like Leona here, for example. You can of course get a lot easier roots because if they are already CC'd, you can easily just root them down. Thresh just trolls in and tries to recall in the middle of the lane, and he has to flash because of that. It's really strange exchange there. And if you have enchanters, they could just buff you up and make you a lot harder to kill, so that works very well as well. Now I will say that I actually made a mistake in this game already, and take a second to think if you know what that mistake is, because I'm gonna reveal it in like 3 more seconds. 2, 1. Well, so basically the mistake was leveling Q at level 1. So generally, as a rule of thumb, you want to level up your Q at level 1 almost always, because you are generally never really in a fight. But if you get into a fight level 1, leveling your W is better, because getting the extra attack speed and extra DPS and extra movement speed is very helpful. So if we level W at level 1 and everything remained perfectly the same, we might actually have even been able to kill Thresh. So here we rotated to blue buff because we actually saw Gragas walking in and we thought that he was contesting blue, but he actually wasn't. He actually just came in to ward, so I can assume that he warded in there. So here Leona gets an engage in on Draven. We're just starting to whack now, and we don't win the long trade. So the really important thing to know about playing against a Draven lane is you don't win long trade. So you can get in a quick trade, sure, but in the long run, Draven always wins. So here Katarina comes in for the roam, manages to kill Leona. I barely survive. I'm trying to finish the kill on Thresh, but he gets executed, and I managed to get the root on Draven and barely finish the kill on him before he kills me. So I do get a double kill. Unfortunately, the Thresh one didn't work out. My auto attack was not quite fast enough, so he did manage to get the execute. But fortunately for me, I was able to survive Katarina, able to kill her, and then able to kill the Draven who tried to kill me. So Draven also loses his stacks, and overall, I would say it kind of just worked out in general. So of course, with Xayah, I prefer, of course, Xayah as an ADC you can technically pick in any match. There's no real bad matchups for Xayah. She's just a really good blind pick ADC, really good consistent ADC that doesn't really have a lot of bad matchups, doesn't really have any kind of lane that she does really bad against, but she does have a lot of lanes and a lot of champions that she does well against. Basically, long story short, is the champions who want to go in on you. So again, alright, so Draven here gets caught out, nothing too much to talk about here. I'm gonna blow the ult to get the extra range to finish him off. But yeah, basically champions that want to go in on you. So for ADCs, that's ADCs like Neela, like Samira, or like even the more aggressive ADCs like Draven, for example. And for supports, is generally the engagers, champions like Nautilus, Leona, Thresh. Xayah's pretty good into them. And then of course, just assassins in general, like of course here we have Katarina, champions like that, and also of course champions like Gragas who wants to jump in on you, or like top lane champions like Set or Riven, or even Malphite who just wants to run in on you or jump on top of you. Champions like this, Xayah is really good against. Now I do like picking Xayah into like a full team of threats. Now in theory, this shouldn't really be that good for Xayah, because at the end of the day, you only have one ultimate. So if you ult like the Malphite ult, for example, you're gonna get hit by like a Thresh hook or something like that. But I found the majority of the time it actually still works out, just because of the basic fact that by principle, and the enemy team wants to chase you. So even if they actually hit you, you still have a lot of extra safety, because if they, like for example, if I ult the Blitzcrank, if I ult the Blitzcrank hook and Malphite ults on top of me, then I can actually pull back my feathers, which is going to root Malphite and anyone who's trying to jump in on me to follow up on Malphite's engage. So after that, I just kind of either flash away or walk away or something like that, and generally I'm fine. So it does still work out for me in general. Here, they try to get in a gank. If I get hit by that hook, by the way, I'm dead. I get hooked, I get flayed, Gragas and Draven instantly just kill me, so really important that we did not get hit by that. And also really important is, one common mistake a lot of Xayahs, including myself, commonly make is basically holding onto your ult for too long. So you really don't want to be too greedy with your ult. Of course, you don't want to just use it willy-nilly. However, you don't want to be holding onto it until you're like 1 HP. Sometimes it's better to use it at the beginning when you can dodge like a hook or something like that, or some kind of huge engage. Like here, for example, I ulted here so that I don't take any damage. Now the reason is you have to recognize what is going to happen if you get hooked. So here, if I get hooked by the Thresh, it's a free, like what you guys just saw here, it's a free ulti for the Gragas, and then it's a free flay, and then it's a free body slam. So anyways, here it ends up working out for us, pretty much just overall. But yeah, that's what could have happened if I got hooked. So sometimes it's just worth it to dodge that one hook, because if you don't dodge that one hook, even though you're at full health, you just die from the chain CC. So sometimes you gotta notice and recognize, what's up. So here Gragas tries to go in for the steal, ends up just donating his life away again. We're now 5-0-1 like in like 5 minutes. Clo coming to 6 minutes, so we're really fed. We complete our Bloodthirster and we can now start building towards Navori. So we are super duper fed, and let's just look at our goal. We have like 2k gold up. We're at 2k gold up on Draven, and we're doing really well for our team. On the other lanes, Vladimir has a decent lead as well, although Ziggs is like 1k gold behind Katarina, but overall, the game state is looking quite good for me and my team. So here I'm just going to continue clearing wave. You can see Draven actually rotating down, and Thresh is actually at bot lane. So here there's a Herald play clearly happening. So what I'm doing here is I'm going to just commit to getting this tower. So basically Herald is of course to get first tower, and it's also to get basically like nearly all of the plates from a tower. So if we can just get the tower outright without even getting the Herald, then we technically have won the trade, because they get Herald, yes, but they don't get first tower, and they do get the tower plates, but we also got the tower plate, so it's kind of even in that respect. So here we do get the entire tower with all of the plates, and you can see that my goal lead is starting to balloon even more, obviously because we just got the whole tower with plates, and the enemy team does get the Herald, but they only have 30 seconds left to use it if they want to get any kind of tower plates from the Herald itself. So here, now that we've cleared top, we want to rotate mid. Generally, being mid is the best case scenario for an ADC and support combo, because with that you can easily reach other lanes. So here I'm just getting one more plate from the middle lane. Leona tries to engage on Thresh, Thresh tries to engage on me. Maybe he thought I was going to flash to the left or something like that, because that was a really weird position to hook. And here Draven and Thresh are both in. I get the root onto the Thresh. Glacials pop on each other. I'm just DPSing whoever I can, which is the Thresh. Gragas kind of missed the cast entirely. I pull back the root onto the Gragas, Gragas goes down. I'm trying to flash the wall here, but I kind of fail miserably. Doesn't matter though, I flash an auto attack and I do get the kill, but I was trying to ult flash the wall, but for some reason my flash was not going off, so that was kind of embarrassing, but it does work out. We do get a triple kill regardless, and we're now at 8k gold, which is nearly double of the Draven's goal at this point. He's at like 4.5k, so nearly double of the Draven's goal. Just doing super duper well. And with our lead, we've kind of translated it to other lanes as well. Vi has a 1k lead. Vladimir has over a 1k lead, although we did not touch the Vladimir's lane at all. And now, with our shenanigans in mid, Ziggs is kind of catching up and, isn't at like a 1k gold deficit anymore. Ziggs is actually going top to catch the huge double stack wave. So we're just going to go to mid instead to clear out the wave here, and also again mid is a better position for the ADC, so you can easily rotate to other lanes. Speaking of rotating to other lanes, We see that a fight is going to happen here. We know Katarina is in this bush because we just saw her walk there. Leona gets the stun. I try to get the chain route onto the Leona, but unfortunately, Thresh Lantern does save her. Now, the Glacial Slow is absolutely insane. I can't move. I'm trying my best to catch up to the fight, but unfortunately, I basically just end up running after all of them, and I don't actually end up doing anything aside from just running after all of them. So Draven gets a bounty in the mid lane tower during this time, but now we're going to trade that for getting the tier 2 in the bot lane because no one is actually defending this tower, so we're just going to get it for free. And now this is a little bit too much. Like, we should be backing off here. I'm saying to back off. Leona walks in really, really deep, and I'm deciding whether to back off or to help her. So I decide to go up and help her, but it looks like there's no way she's getting out. So time for me to leave. We don't want to donate free kills to the enemy team. I get the root down, and I actually nearly kill the Teemo off of the root. Now Gragas for some reason is chasing me, so I'm just gonna kill him. I don't know what he's doing. Like, he can't be chasing me alone. He doesn't actually do any damage. He's building full damage, but he only has one item, and I have 2 full items. Here I find the enemy Draven and Thresh. I thought the Thresh was gonna flay me, so I actually ult to try to avoid the flay. He ends up flaying only just now. Teemo is now here. I get blinded, so unfortunately I can't get the blue buff because my auto attacks don't actually do any damage. So I decide, 3 people is a little bit too much. Like, I don't want to be fighting them 1v3, so I'm gonna just back off and just go back to base and get myself the components for the Magnetic Blaster. So here the dragon is now up. The next dragon, second dragon. And we're gonna hit over. Katarina gets chain CC'd. I'm chaining CC as well. She just dies without being able to do very much. We kill the Thresh. Draven is now the next target. We kill him as well. And we're not gonna just go back to... I was gonna go back to the dragon, but I realized that my jungler has backed and Gragas is, sort of just here. So we're just gonna get the pick onto the Gragas first. Only Teemo is left alive. Herald is causing mayhem in the top lane, and obviously doesn't get the plates for the enemy team because they popped it like so late. But we're gonna be able to finish off the dragon, and I get a ward kill on the way out as well, and then we can just back and hopefully complete our Magnetic Blaster. Alright, there we go. So now we got the Magnetic Blaster in hand. And we're going to be able to get that bonus range and that bonus damage. You can see now the electricity on our hands. We got the Magnetic Blaster up. So here we're just going to do the red buff and let the Vi finish the job so we get the buff share. And there's a huge wave in bot. So Vi is going to take care of the Krugs while I'm taking care of the wave. Teemo is now in trouble. He's getting chased down by Vi. So here I have to pop the ghost to kind of catch up. I actually kill him in one auto attack because my one auto attack with the Magnetic Blaster does like half of his HP, so we do get the kill on him. Now with the ghost, I'm running straight to mid to see if we can help out our team, but I think they know that we're coming, so they end up running toward the top side instead. So not much can really be done. Now Vi is actually pinging for the Baron. I think that's a brilliant idea. We're going to push out this wave first, and then we're going to go Baron. We can see Gragas is recalling, and Katarina and Thresh are on the opposite side of the map. So this should be a pretty free Baron. Vladimir actually gets the kill on Katarina before Thresh finally shuts him down. So that's pretty nice as well. Katarina's out of the picture, and Thresh is the one that gets the shutdown. Couldn't go too much worse for the enemy team. Alright, so now with the Baron, I'm going to back. And initially, I was thinking of just going for my Maul Reminder, but I decided to actually go for Stasis instead because it is a really risky match, a lot of ways to die, so I decided to go for the extra level of safety because I have 11 kills and I don't really want to give an 11 kill shutdown to the enemy team. So in the meantime, again, there's a huge wave at top, so I'm just going to quickly clear out this wave. Xayah, of course, amazing wave clear with the ability to strike through minions, as well as, of course, now with the Magnetic Blaster to easily just zap an entire wave like that. And now that we've pushed out a couple of waves, we don't really know where the enemy team is, and there's no other pressure points on the map, so we can't really continue pushing. Otherwise, the whole enemy team will just collapse on us and we will die. I'm going to back and pick up the last Whisper. Of course, Thresh is getting pretty tanky, so we can't, of course, deal with that. Not too much healing, which is why I chose to go for the last Whisper first. So now with Baron, we're just marching down mid. And Gragas ults us and the minions away. Not a big deal. I'm just gonna grab the fruit here, and we can try to finish off the tower. Draven launches a weird ulti down. Minion actually gets the tower. So here we're trying to force some inhibs if possible. We still have 7 seconds of the Baron buff. And here we do manage to force down the mid lane tower with the last of the Baron buff. However, you know, we are still kind of fighting inside the enemy's base. Gragas has to run. And yeah, so now we can use the wave that we have here to actually take care of this bot tower. So now in the meantime, while all this is happening, my team is getting into a major fight. I popped the ghost. I forgot that a tower actually exists there. I tank a tower shot and I have to ult to prevent myself from dying. Yeah, we just took down like 2 inhibs. I was like, oh, you know, there's no inhib there. And then I walk over, get hooked into the inhib, which is not really what I was looking for. And I actually think that's the first hook that Thresh lands on me the whole match. I think. Not too sure about that, but yeah, so now we're just going to back and, you know, just restore our resources and just get some items. So basically, of course, the name of the game here is to end the game and not die, you know, while doing that. Like, we don't want to try too hard and we don't want to end up dying, giving the enemy a shutdown and letting them get an avenue back into the game. So at this point, we're so fed that we're like, you know, 4 to 5k gold up on everyone on the enemy team. And really, there's not much they can really do to me. Gragas is getting caught out by Leona. But he has a dash to dash over the wall. Leona actually ults him, but there's no way for me to get over the wall. I don't have a flash. I don't have flash up. I don't have ghost. And yeah, nothing much I can really do except just look at the Gragas being stunned there. So third dragon is spawning and I'm just doing it. Xayah is really good at securing dragons. So you can see all of these feathers. They do like, you know, 600, 700 damage or so. So here you can see I'm stacking up the feathers, get the dragon low, and just pulling it back at 500 to just burst down the dragon before Gragas can come and steal. And we get Infernal Soul, which is a, you know, basically the strongest soul in the game. And here Baron is spawning. So here we were initially trying to go for Baron. Vi was pinging for Baron, but looks like a fight is just going to break out instead. We chain CC the Gragas goes down. We go for the Draven next. Draven goes down. And Vi takes out the Teemo, and only Katarina and Thresh are left alive. So we can simply just end the game. Now Katarina just goes in, gets one shot, and we just finish off the game. So hopefully guys enjoyed the video. I'm going to leave you guys with the stats as usual. Thank you guys so much for watching the video, and goodbye.